What are the stories in the 60-year history of the Australian that stand out for you?
The controversy on Vietnam War.
We're not so self-centred as to think that these alliances confer on us rights.
The Australian opposed our involvement in the Vietnam War in the 1960s, and I think it was your friend, the Country Party leader, John McEwen, who informed you of the government's decision to send Australian troops to support America in Vietnam.
We've been quite loud in the Australian, and John, he said, we've just made a decision which you won't like, and you can blame me for it entirely.
It will be all the way with LBJ.
Looking back, do you think that was the right decision, both in terms of the Australian opposing it and in terms of the government's decision?
I don't know. To stay close to America, to help me, yes. But do the Americans remember that today? No, I think they assume Australia's a good ally, so probably was right.
In 1972, the Labor Party ended 23 years of Conservative rule.
Men and women of Australia, it's time for a new government.
The Australian agreed and endorsed a vote for Labor's Gough Whitlam.
Gough Whitlam, you did the Conservatives in power for decades. Whitlam came along, changed it. He attempted big things.
3 years later, the honeymoon was over.
We thought it was time, but we quickly changed our mind. I think it was time, but the government was totally disorganised. Whitlam had no idea how to run a cabinet.
All those who want Mr. Whitlam to get the hell out of Canberra.
Well, may we say, God save the Queen. Because nothing will save the Governor-General.
1975, I think, was the most turbulent year of national politics in the history of the country.
Paul Kelly is the Australian's editor-at-large. In 1975, he was the paper's chief political correspondent in Canberra.
I was very close to both Whitlam and Fraser, but the view that I had was, and I had a very deep-seated view, that the blocking of supply and the dismissal of Whitlam by the Governor-General were wrong, and the paper basically were not prepared to wear that. They felt that what I was writing as the chief political correspondent was too incompatible with the position of the paper, so they removed me as political correspondent.
And then he left the paper and wrote for the Fairfax Press. 10 years later, he returned.
He seemed to me to more naturally fit, and because he went on to become the editor-in-chief. In fact, the night before I became Prime Minister, Paul and he then came over for dinner, and he had the latest news poll. And in his very serious voice, he said, "Do you want to know the results of the latest news poll?" I said, "Yes." And it was very good. It was 54-46 or something. And I said, "You're not going to put that on the front page, are you?" He said, "Oh, we have to. It's our latest news poll." But I said, well, it might scare all those people into voting for the Labor Party again. You know, that's how nervous I was. I kid you not.